How's it going, everyone? Spencer with Stadia Dispatch here. I'm here with Trent from Stop RCV. So this is Stopped Ranked Choice Voting. So Trent, can you tell me a little bit about what you guys are trying to do and how you guys are trying to protect the Electoral College?
Yeah, absolutely. So, those are our two missions. We educate people about how important the Electoral College is and this really awful idea that the left has been pushing called the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. And then we also work, because we just care about having honest elections, we also work against ranked choice voting, which is another really bad idea that's being pushed by just a couple of left-wing billionaires trying to make elections totally non-transparent, turn the whole thing over to computers, running an algorithm on the back end that's supposed to give us better winners than a straightforward election process, right? Doesn't sound like a good idea to me, so we work out in the States trying to educate people about that as well.
I know we were talking off camera a little bit. I know they're trying to implement it here in Arizona. For my Arizona viewers, give me an update on what's going on, what you guys are doing here to stop that.
Yeah, Arizona, like a lot of states right now, there's an effort to put ranked choice voting on the ballot. And, oftentimes this is like Final Four or Final Five voting. It combines a jungle primary, which allows, it basically destroys primaries, allows people who are not, Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, whatever, to have a say in the other party's nominees effectively, creates a lot of weirdness in politics, or a lot of potential to game the system, and then they use a ranked choice voting general election. So that's what they're pushing here in Arizona. Idaho, Montana, Ohio, all across the country, Nevada, Oregon, they're pushing this ranked choice voting system in various ways. Although I will say, Alaska, they got it up there, and now there is a really powerful movement trying to repeal it. That's probably going to be on the ballot next year as well.
Now, do you think with it on the ballot, because of how they've basically rigged the system? Let's be fair, that's what ranked choice voting is. You're not voting for a single candidate. People are going to get whatever a secondary candidate is and you could probably explain it better to me and the viewers. The way I understand it is you'll vote for your first nomination or whatever, but if they don't get above a certain percentile, then it goes to the second, and then it pools the second tally for everyone.
Yeah, it basically turns a ballot into like a multiple choice test, right? Where you're saying, this is my first choice, my second choice, third choice, or not. A lot of voters just don't want to rank a bunch of candidates, right? So, you may rank 5, you may rank 2 or just 1. And then the candidate, if nobody gets 50% of the number 1 rankings, they take the least popular candidate, eliminate that candidate, reallocate the votes, run it again. And we've seen elections under some systems where it goes to 12, 13, 14 rounds of retabulation. It's all done by computers. And if
you code it a certain way, you're going to get the outcome that certain people want. Let's just put it that way.
Well, and it's so complicated. They tried this in Arlington, Virginia earlier this year, and even election officials could not really explain what was going on and how the system worked. There they made it even more complicated by trying to have this like multiple winner system with ranked choice voting, which the other side says is what they really want long term, but usually they don't go quite that far at this point, but they had to back out of the whole thing. Alameda County, California, they actually had a completely failed election. They installed the wrong person in a school board seat. And this really captures what's wrong with ranked choice voting. Voters were confused. So several hundred voters made mistakes on their ballots. The computers were programmed wrong, so the computers couldn't deal with the mistakes, and the system lacks transparency, so nobody knew that a mistake had been made until some academics happened to be doing their own audit of the system 2 months later, and it took another 2 months to get the right person in that school board seat, right? It's a disaster.
That's quicker than what we've been dealing with out here in Maricopa County, I'll say, because I'm just going to say this, looking at, let's just say, without getting censored on YouTube, because it's also going on YouTube, it doesn't bode well for election integrity when you're overcomplicating the system. That's the way I'll phrase it. So YouTube censors, YouTube overlords, I'm not breaking your laws here, your rules, sorry, because it's not a law, it's a rule. Don't ban me, bro. Okay, moving on.
Well, I say that we should apply the BS test to elections, which stands for, of course, bus station. If you can't go down to the local bus station and explain the election process to somebody there and have them turn around and explain it to somebody else, it's not democratic, right? It's an elitist system, and that's what ranked choice voting is. You got a handful of super progressive billionaire elitists pushing this system that just tilts the scales more in their direction, right? It's a terrible, it's so bad that some of the kind of traditional, like not ultra progressive Democrat constituencies, like, so we've seen some NAACP chapters have come out and said this is disenfranchisement, right?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting, like, you know, we're used to seeing this on some of the wokeness issues, but now we have an election issue where progressives are going too far for some of the Democrat base.
Right. No, that's, I mean, when the normal, I guess, what do you call them, like, general run-of-the-mill Democrats, not the far left, right?
Yeah.
When those guys are even saying, like, hey, this is bad, we're not having our vote cast the way it should be, one vote for one person, I mean, you're really just nullifying the vote. You're being disenfranchised as a voter because your vote's not worth one vote. I mean, looking at history, what was it when they allowed, what was the constitutional amendment which allowed blacks to vote?
The 13th Amendment.
Yeah, 13th Amendment, and then you had what was it called before, though? I'm blanking. It's been a long day.
And you had Jim Crow.
Jim Crow laws, but it was like the black vote was only like a certain percent in the southern states.
The 3/5 compromise.
Yeah, 3/5 compromise. Right. So what we're basically saying is with ranked choice voting, we are bringing back the 3/5 compromise. It's just not based on race. It's based on your political ideology. I mean, it's fair to say.
Well, and the really shocking thing, you know, we see these progressive election groups come out and say, well, you can't have voter ID because there might be a 0.5% of some minority group that doesn't have an ID or something, right? I mean, these really tiny fractions of a difference that usually when you do the research turn out even that's not true. In New York City, when they used ranked choice voting, black voters were 2.5 times less likely to fully use the system than other voters, right? That's a huge, you know, what they call in the law a disparate impact against minorities. And basically you've got these white progressive elites who don't care. And, you know, once again, they're exposing that they don't care about even the Democrat base. They don't care about working class, ordinary Americans at all.
Right. So what can people do to support your guys' movement? How can they get involved?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is, you know, share this video, right? Go to our website, share our materials. People just need to understand, and we can't let the other side get away with, you know, they try to say, oh, well, it's just about open primaries, or it's just about, you know, getting more moderate candidates or something, right?
Rhinos.
Yeah, I mean, ranked choice voting, right, is not actually popular with almost anybody when they understand what it is. So, you know, just educate the people around you about this terrible idea.
Cool. Again, hey, I appreciate the interview. You guys know where to go look. StopRCV.com. Check them out. These guys are really influential. Highly recommend you go support them because I know out here in Arizona they're trying to bring back ranked choice voting, and it's not going to be good when you think our elections are bad as it is now. Add this onto the fact. And I know my buddy was talking about this up in Vegas, who I was talking about off camera, and like they're trying to repeal that right now, or they're trying to make sure that doesn't go through because they've seen already how bad it is. So it's going to be an interesting fight, and I hope we win, and I hope our constitutional republic prevails.
Amen.
So, all right, Trent. Hey, it's a pleasure, my friend.
Thanks so much, Spencer.